the deal? Welcome to In Your League. I'm your host, Cheddar Chaz. We on the late night tip. A lot of things going on right now. The Minnesota Timberwolves just suffered an embarrassing defeat to the Memphis Grizzlies. Welcome back, Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome looking really good out there. Man, it just provides so many questions about Ja Morant because seemingly, and I'm not trying to disparage Ja Morant, I'm just trying to give the Memphis Grizzlies some credit that, seemingly with competent guard play and relative health, that's still a dangerous team. That's still a team that could make a push to make that play in. Would that be the wise thing to do? No. But if they could get Zach Edey back, Ty Jerome could play consistently. You got Gigi Jackson out there balling, Cedric Cowell balling. And if you manage to net something decent in return for Ja Morant, I think they can make a play and push. Even if you get the 10th seed, you don't necessarily lose your lottery pick because, hell, look at what happened to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, of course, that was a very special set of circumstances. Wink, wink. It's a very special set of circumstances, but maybe history repeats itself. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Jaden in the chat. Ethan in the chat. What's happening with y'all, man? What is good? I hope y'all doing all right. So, I want to kind of go over something that's been making news lately. Jess, what up with you? Sko, what up with you? What's happening with y'all? I hope y'all doing all right. Yep, that's another double-digit blown lead for the Pelicans. I think that's 15 on the season, if I'm not mistaken. No, that's 15 fourth-quarter blown leads. I think it's about 22. I think it's about 22 double-digit blown leads, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I got the numbers missed. It might be 12 double-digit blown leads. If I'm not mistaken. I gotta check, but I'm pretty sure it's about at least 15 blown fourth-quarter leads. Slim Side, what's happening with your homie? Yo, so I'm glad y'all in here so I can get, another perspective on some of the things that we saw from the game, some of the things that's happening going into this trade deadline. You got Ben Mathurin, who had an awesome game today. Ben Mathurin had an awesome game. Yes, of course, the Pacers lost, but there's another person on the trade block right now. Check out the numbers Ben Mathurin put up tonight. Almost got into a bit of a fight, too. Thompson was there to break it up. Ben Mathurin, 8 for 15, 0 for 2 from beyond the arc, but 8 for 15 from the field, shooting 53%, 9 for 10 from the free throw line, 4 and 5. He averages about 5 rebounds, so those numbers never really drop too low. So 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 25 points. 25 points. I say this all the time. The Pelicans don't have 5 players that can score 25 points in an empty gym. So a prospect like this is promising. They were rumored to have some interest in Yves Missi. Jay Huff had a terrible night tonight. 2 for 7 from the field, 2 for 6 from beyond the arc, only 3 rebounds, 5 points. They need a defensive presence at that center position. I think they double back. Hopefully the Pelicans just drop their nuts, man, and make a decision. Make a decision. You need the offense. Of course, I'm an Yves Missi fan. I would hate to give up Yves Missi. I told y'all that's my partner. But at the same time, sometimes business is business. Shout out to Yves Missi, though. He had a good game today, in my opinion. All right, now let's get into another person who I've, kind of thought the Pelicans may have some interest in. All right, now, we all know the situation with DeJounte Murray coming off of injury. Shout out to Philly in the building. What's happening? Coming off of injury, there's been some issues behind the scenes with the Pelicans. DeJounte Murray, he's in Vegas right now. He will be, I don't know where the Super Bowl held this year, but he's going to be there at some point this year, rooting on the Seattle Seahawks, rooting for for Seattle Seahawks. But let's say Zach LaVine, right? Zach LaVine has about 2 years left on this contract, at an astounding number. I think it's at like about $46 million, if I'm not mistaken. I think it may, if I'm not mistaken, it may just be this year and one more year, if I'm not mistaken. But his last game, 13 for 26 from the field, 50. That's what he does. High usage bucket. 50% from the field, 4 10 from beyond the arc, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Again, he's not gonna pass the basketball too much, but 35 points. Another guy who, I had a bit of a trade proposal as it pertains to him. If I can get it queued up 1 second here. Had a bit of a trade proposal as it pertains to him with the Pelicans. The reason I proposed this is because he's a clutch client. What's his name? DeJounte Murray's a clutch client. And I do believe that in order to move DeJounte, it will have to involve clutch client for clutch client to some degree. I think you'll have to involve clutch client to clutch client for a clutch client in some degree. Now, if you take a look at this deal here, if y'all can see it, you got Zach LaVine going to the New Orleans Pelicans, Simone Fontecchio, Khalil Ware. It's a 3-team deal that helps, I guess, keep the Miami Heat competitive. Louisiana Gal, what's up with you? On cue, look, we just talking about DeJounte. 3-team deal that in the event that the Miami Heat want to remain competitive, but, you know, they miss out on Giannis or what have you, or they want to kind of, you know, put together more assets in the potential Giannis trade. They're not playing Khalil Ware. So at this point, I wouldn't even necessarily consider Khalil Ware much of a trade asset for him. Like, he's getting benched regardless of performances. Like, he's just not playing right now. So you have Zach LaVine, Simone Fontecchio, Khalil Ware going to the Pelicans. You got Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado going to the Heat. You know, Spo gets the kind of guys he likes in Herb Jones. He moves off of two guys that he wouldn't like or clearly doesn't like in Khalil Ware and Fontecchio. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Troy Weaver brought Fontecchio on to the Detroit Pistons a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken. The Kings, they get rid of one clutch client making a ton of money for another clutch client making slightly less money. They got DeAndre Hunter. It's another guy who they're going to add to Keegan Murray. And seemingly, they're going to try to thread the needle and stay competitive. Seemingly. You got Kevon Looney, $8 million expiring money. Get to clear their books a little bit on top of moving off of Zach LaVine's money. And they add Jordan Hawkins, you know, this is a scratch off. Maybe he shows some upside. That's a team that's been needing 3-point shooting for a while now. Let me know how you would grade this deal in the comments. I don't hate it. I don't hate it for the Pelicans. It addresses a lot of issues. And it's just tough. It's just tough to take on that much money in Zach LaVine and add depth. So Fontecchio falling off the books would help you some. But now you absolutely would have to find a deal for Jordan Poole going into this offseason. Louisiana Gal say, what's good, Chaz? I actually just heard about DeJounte today. Clutch hasn't been able to find a deal that Joe likes. Rich told Joe he has to prepare to return to NOLA this month and play to get traded. Yeah. What's happening with you spectacular? That the Kings deal kind of killed the Pelicans market. Teams want them to attach stuff to get rid of contracts. Yeah, that's my perspective as well. Because how I view it, especially with DeJounte, and that's why I was more so eager to move off of DeJounte this offseason versus going into the season with DeJounte, because I'm like, look, you're going to have to pay to get rid of him no matter what. At least if you move off of him now, maybe you go and, acquire some talent that can help you become competitive during the season. Of course, they chose not to do that. It's very hard to trade injured people. Whoa, what up with you, Bronze? Now, there's another deal that I think could be beneficial for all parties involved. And that's more so the meat and potatoes of the show. I'm gonna get that queued up for you right now. But yeah, even with I think the Jordan Poole thing, to me the Jordan Poole shit is a little weird because I think people more so just dislike Jordan Poole. Like, and I'm not talking about the team. I think the media just dislikes Jordan Poole for whatever reason, because to me, him being a $30 million expiring going into the offseason is pretty fucking good. It's pretty good. $30 million expiring going to the offseason. I don't think you would necessarily have to attach assets to move him, but I do think you would have to attach assets if you were looking to buy, and that's most likely what you will be looking to do with that contract anyway. It being an attractive contract. Louisiana Gal say the Kings deal kind of killed the Pelicans market. Teams want them to attach stuff to get rid of contracts. Yeah, that Kings deal was terrible in my opinion. Signed Dennis Schroeder to a crazy contract. What up, JB Thomas? What up to everybody in the chat, man? Jaden, what up with you? So you got Giannis being the Miami Heat in the next 48 hours. Well, she has 11. But where I'm at, I think the Miami Heat has the most traction, and I think they have the best assets. They just can't play themselves. They can't shoot themselves in the foot and overdo it, because that's really gonna be the issue. Like if they overthink it, like they've done in the past with Dame. The Jimmy Butler thing where they just like, no, we gonna hold on, we gonna try to, make this work, they'll be stupid. What the Miami Heat need to do, in my opinion, now they don't necessarily have to do this, but I think it would help get the deal done now versus Golden State. I'm sorry, not Golden State. Versus the Bucks taking it to the off season and trying to like find more suitors. I think they could get this done in a shorter term, right? So, for example, now today, breaking news, if y'all haven't heard, Terry Rozier, I don't want to say he was cleared from the investigation, 'cause I don't really know, but I guess he took his salary issue to an arbitrator. The union took his salary issue to an arbitrator. The arbitrator ruled in his favor, so he will be receiving his money this year, which is upwards of $26 million. Now that's $26 million expired, if I'm not mistaken. So I got some dice and I got some cards. Let me know if you're trying to play pity pat, Terry. Let's get this money. Let's see. So they're gonna be probably looking to move that contract as well as expiring contract. They probably just don't want to let him walk for nothing. You know what I'm saying? You probably want to use that to see if you could maybe take on some bad money, take on another asset to potentially send to the Bucks. And that's where the Pelicans come in. Because anyone taking on Terry Rozier contract, they're not looking for Terry to play. They're just looking for Terry to become a free agent and get that money off the books. Now, here's the deal I'm proposing. This is me. I'm proposing this has to be done by the deadline. You can't go into the offseason with this deal. The Pelicans will receive Terry Rozier, his expiring for $26 million, Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, and Kel'el Ware. Now, the crown jewels of this trade would be Kel'el Ware and Terry Rozier's expiring. Now, the Pelicans, in exchange for that swap for the 27 Milwaukee Bucks pick, because remember, that 27 Milwaukee Bucks pick pretty much belongs to the Pelicans. It's top 4 protected. So if it lands in the top 4 and the Pelicans' own pick gets to land in the top 4, the Pelicans keep both of those picks. If the Milwaukee Bucks pick, the most simple way to put it is, if that pick lands in the top 4, the Pelicans get to keep it, basically. And they'll choose between trading their own pick to Atlanta. Whatever the worst pick is, Atlanta will get that pick, to my understanding. If both of those picks land in the top 4, the Pelicans keep both picks. Atlanta don't get shit. The trade doesn't convey. So, all right. So, in exchange for that 27 pick, for Milwaukee to get their rights back to that pick, you're pretty much selling that pick back to the Miami Heat. And the Miami Heat, in exchange for that pick, they are giving you the 2026 first rounder, which is this year, which, the Pelicans are just hard-pressed to get back after trading, their first unnecessarily. 2 second-round picks and a 2028 first-round pick. 2028 first-round pick. The Milwaukee Bucks. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The Milwaukee Bucks will get Milwaukee native Jordan Poole. Pelicans get to clear that money a year early, get to clear Terry Rozier's money. They basically create some cap space going into the summer. Now, this deal gets better for the Pelicans as it goes on. To me, this is one of those deals where everyone wins, in my opinion. All right, so you have Tyler Hero, of course, coming from the Miami Heat, going to the Milwaukee Bucks. Andrew Wiggins. Now, of course, and the Bucks also can probably expand this trade and send those guys somewhere else and accumulate even more assets. Because if I were them, that's what I would be trying to do. Because if they're getting their own pick back in 27, they're probably going to want to tank, right? So they'll be getting a 27 pick back. They'll be getting a 29 first from the Heat. They'll be getting a 31 first from the Heat. Let's just call 32 swap, right? Let's call 32 a swap. Now, the Miami Heat, they're getting Giannis Antetokounmpo. They're getting DeJounte Murray. Because, hey, look, that's the deal. The reason I'm taking Terry Rozier back is I'm giving you DeJounte Murray. I'm giving you a guy who can play. I'm giving you a guy who actually can play. He's healthy. He can play. Y'all can get this ball rolling going into next season. I'm giving you some competent guard play when he's healthy. Former All-Star guy. I'm sure he's familiar with Pat Riley. I'm sure Popovich will put in a good word with him, with Pat Riley, with Coach Spo. I'm sure the relationship is there, right? I'm sure they're aware of one another. Also, Miami played against him several times last year. He was busting Miami ass last year. Not last year, year before last in the play. Well, not in the playoffs, in the regular season. He was busting Miami ass when he was with the Hawks. He was busting the ass. You got Kevon Looney, $8 million expiring. Since you're sending Kel'el Ware, who you hate, you take back Kevon Looney, veteran presence. He's on $8 million. He got a team option for the next year. You could just opt out of that team option, decline the option, let him be a free agent, whatever. Or you can pick it up and you got a veteran championship guy kind of giving you some of that Udonis Haslem. Jordan Hawkins is more so just a salary throw in to make everything work. If you want to add in Jose Alvarado instead of Jordan Hawkins, whatever. Like, I ain't really tripping. I would prefer it to be Jordan Hawkins, though, because Jordan Hawkins is making $7 million next year. Now, what do you guys think about this deal? And, of course, Miami Heat will receive no picks in this deal. The Pelicans, who are my favorite team, who I'm biased towards, the Pelicans will receive 2 firsts, 2 seconds, Khalil Ware, and salary cap space this upcoming off season in exchange for giving back the Bucks their 27 pick, which could potentially be a top pick. So that's what you got to think about it if you're the Pelicans, because that 27 pick could potentially be a top pick. Jordan Poole, the Bucks get Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins. Those 2 guys, they can turn into assets. Jordan Poole, they can let expire, take on bad contracts into that salary cap space. And you got 3 other firsts for your troubles, and who knows what other swaps the Miami Heat may include. Miami, they become relevant once again with Giannis. You get DeJounte, who can still play. You get Kevon Looney, who's going to, championship guy, but who may fall off the books. You get Jordan Hawkins. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments. Let me see here. You got Giannis being a Miami Heat in the next 48 hours. I think they have the best shot at it if he is traded by the deadline. Jack and Margella say they should trade Fears before the rest of the league catches on. Fears 19. Fears 19. I wouldn't really worry about him too much. He also got a bunk coach, though. That's the bigger problem, in my opinion. Poet Cap said Rozier basically tradable now. Yep, facts. B. Thomas said anywhere on the Pelicans making any moves or they think they championship ready. I absolutely don't think they think they're championship ready. Louisiana gal, which she mentioned earlier, as it pertains to the Kings kind of messing up the market. Not, it's the Kings and what happened with Atlanta, because the Kings basically had to attach Keon Ellis to get off of Dennis Schroeder. They received DeAndre Hunter in exchange, but DeAndre Hunter at this point is probably a bad contract. A relatively bad contract. I think he's 28 also, which in the basketball years is like, the upside ain't really gonna be there. But I think the reason, 2 reasons why you haven't heard too much about the Pelicans is 3 reasons. For one, the Pelicans don't talk to anyone. Everything you heard about the Pelicans is coming from second and third parties. Like, the Pelicans don't really put shit out there and talk to people necessarily. This is a very quiet, paranoid regime. They not really, volunteering information like that. That's why you don't see a lot of local beat people like breaking news. They're pretty much just echoing the shit that the national people have said. And lastly, it's like, this market stinks. Like, there's no way in hell you getting no fucking 2 firsts for Herb Jones right now. This market is trash. This is a buyer's market. But that should encourage the Pelicans to try to buy or become a part of a team that's looking to buy, like Miami Heat. If they can offload a couple of bad contracts, particularly one bad contract in DeJounte Murray, and, probably give themselves some expiring salary going into the offseason, or create some roster spots, address that center position, restock the war chest, quote unquote. The Pelicans got avenues to set themselves up really nice going into the offseason. Because the way I see it, one of these positions got to be cheap. You either got to find cheap shooting, a cheap center, or a cheap starting point guard. Like, one of them positions got to be cheap. One of them got to outplay their contract. If you get Khalil Ware, you address center. Now you can spend on the shooting. You can spend on the point guard position, because you still got yourself set up in this scenario to go out and make other deals. Because you still, if you were interested in Ja Morant, for example, if you're the Pelicans, you still can go get Ja Morant. You can expand this deal in theory and get Ja Morant. Like, there's avenues to do that. Let me read some of these comments. Say, this would be close to a perfect deal, Chaz. Get Ware, get a first, and get off Poole DeJounte money. Facts. Just tweak and say, we're not going to get Ware, but I'll take Kuzma because of his size. I don't know. I haven't really liked Kuzma much since he left the Lakers, to be honest. Denzel, what up with you, bro? He said, yo, what's good, Chaz? Head to sleep on the watch in the morning. Prayers and blessings to you, brother. Got meetings in the morning. Yes, indeed, man. Prayers and blessings to you as well. Good luck with the meetings tomorrow. Jaden said, not a bad idea. Trade from you, Chaz. Both trade ideas are great, very great. I would do either one. Appreciate you, fam. Spectacular said, if we're going to get Khalil Ware, would you feel comfortable trading E for Mathurin? Yes. Spectacular Inside, I would. My only issue with E for Mathurin is I got to pay Ben Mathurin. And I know Ben Mathurin going to want 20 plus million. And that's the paranoia for me. Louisiana gal say Harden might get traded, which could open up a spot for DeJounte to get traded to. Yeah, unless, like King say, unless he get traded for Garland, which may be interesting. I would have to look at Harden's contract because you got to remember the Cleveland Cavaliers can't, if I'm not mistaken, they still can't join salaries. It still would have to be a 1-for-1 trade if I'm not mistaken, because I believe they're still above the second apron. So they would have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they would have to find someone to take Lonzo into cap space. So they would have to call the Nets or somebody, if I'm not mistaken, to take Lonzo into like cap space. That might get them below the second apron. And if that's the case, you may be able to do a Garland for Harden deal. But that wouldn't make, honestly, that wouldn't make no sense for the Clippers. That would only really help Cleveland. Because if you're the Clippers, Garland always hurt. So, King, who reported that? Who reported that, King? It's one person. There's one person who I don't trust nothing they report. But if it was like, Stein or somebody, I had to give it the benefit of the doubt. GSP said why the game was earlier today. I think it's because of the snowstorm in North Carolina. They got a lot of bad winter issues happening right now. Dave will kind of say this is too advanced for GMs. Nah, this is really simple. Like, you look at some of the things that David Griffin was trying to do. He had his head up his ass. The things David Griffin ultimately ended up doing, it was pretty clever. Oh, Sham said to GSP? Ooh, it's a damn shame that Sham's 50-50 these days. But that's really interesting. That is really interesting, man. That's really interesting. If I don't really understand the incentive for them doing that, like let's go through it right here. Let's take a look at it right here and see how it could possibly work. Ben said, how many moves would the Pelicans realistically make at the deadline? Is Joe afraid to pull the trigger after the pick debacle? Yeah, I miss Woj too, RJ. I don't necessarily think he's afraid. I just think this is a bad market generally. Like, it depends on how you value things, right? Like, for example, if you're a person that feels like Ja Morant has a depressed market, one would say Herb Jones has a depressed market as well. So if you thought Ja Morant represented 3 or 4 firsts, and you thought Herb Jones represented 2 firsts, a deal for Ja Morant and Herb Jones, if I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, I still need 2 firsts. All right, let's say I do think Herb represents 2 firsts. Now I still need 2 firsts. But if both of their value is depreciated, like, now you may have to, like, it's just a bad market, bro. It's a bad market. When you could trade Trae Young pretty much for nothing, the Kings pretty much gave up an ass. Like, from what my understanding, the Kings were only receiving like multiple second round offers for Keon Ellis. Like, they didn't even get a first round offer, from my understanding. That's what Sam Amick was saying. So Cleveland and the Clippers. That sound like James Harden requested out, to be honest. Let me see what. Oh, they making. Oh, wait. Nah, they can do it. They can do a 1-for-1 deal, y'all. They can do a 1-for-1 deal. They should be able to do a 1-for-1 deal. Darius Garland made 3.4. James Harden taking that pay cut. Whoo, that worked out. James Harden taking that pay cut worked out, man. They should be able to do this, if I'm not mistaken. They should be able to do this 1-for-1 deal. Look, I'm going to tell you like this. If they plan on doing this type of deal, if the Clippers plan on doing this type of deal, that James Harden absolutely requested to leave, like Louisiana Gal is saying, and Kawhi is probably on his way out soon after. Unless Kawhi just retires or some shit. But Kawhi is probably on his way out soon after, because this represents a bit of a youth movement. It would be very, very interesting. Louisiana Gal, I'm sorry. Poet Cap say, what team you got Morant going to? Man, it's tough to say. It's tough to call. I mean, the Kings don't really have many assets to trade for them. They got their first, and they could, put some salary together, give them Malik Monk, a couple other pieces. I don't know, man. It's tough. it's tough. If his market is that depressed, it really is tough. But you see, I also think if this deal does come to fruition, I also think a part of it is they know that Donovan, like I said this a couple off seasons ago when Donovan Mitchell first signed his extension, I think he could have signed like a 5-year deal and he ultimately ended up signing a 4, something along those lines if I'm not mistaken. Whatever extension he signed, he gave himself an out a year early. I think they're about at that point. They're about at that point to where like if shit go bad, you can probably think, or you know, it's getting close to Donovan Mitchell requesting out, because this is a Hail Mary deal. This could go bad. Like this is again, James Harden is balling. Shout out to you, King. I appreciate you, fam. Like James Harden is balling, right? But if this shit don't work out, like you just traded an asset for an aging point guard with a history of hamstring issues and some weight issues, who also doesn't play defense, who you also got to incorporate into a brand new offensive scheme. Because Kenny Atkinson wasn't there, if I'm not mistaken, when James Harden was with the Nets, was he? Kenny Atkinson wasn't there, right? So there's no real familiarity there. To my knowledge, I don't even remember if Kenny was there. I don't think he was. Louisiana Gale said, my guy from Clutch told me he has to leave. He's currently back in Phoenix and not with the Clippers. Rumors are swirling that punishment could be on the way for the Clippers because of the Kawhi stuff. Oh, man. Now, one thing I will say about James Harden, he's always been smart at getting out ahead of shit, like the situation with the Nets. I think Wendy spoke on this today when he said one of the reasons that Kawhi probably wasn't voted to be an all-star is because of potential blowback from the Clipper situation with the tree company or what have you. I don't know why they would care, but you know, that could be one of the reasons. If this deal comes to fruition, it's going to be interesting because I kind of feel like it's a lateral deal, to be honest. I kind of feel like this deal is a little more lateral than one might, you know, initially perceived because of the names. Like if you just say, Darius Garland, because mind you, Darius Garland is also a multiple-time All-Star, and he's significantly younger than James Harden. But the injury history is just rough, man. Injury history is rough. But it ain't like James Harden play no defense or nothing like that. James Harden just a more consistent regular season scoring guy. But like in the playoffs, James Harden ain't really known for busting ass in the playoffs neither. So I don't know. I don't know what incentive the Cavs would have to do this. And they're not really saving no money. They're only saving a couple $100,000, which for them might represent a couple millions. But why do this? You know what I'm saying? Why do this? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's one less year with Darius' contract. I'm not sure. King Sam said if that deal happens, the Clippers should go after Zion too. I don't really know what assets they would have to go after Zion at that point. They don't got no first, really. They don't really got no picks. And they don't really have any salary or young players you would want to take on in exchange for Zion. I'd rather cut Zion than trade for fucking Derrick Williams. No disrespect to Derrick Williams, I'm just saying. Ben say, I wish Ballmer owned the Pels. Yeah, that would be nice. Ballmer got real money. Spectacular Insight say, everybody hit the like button. I appreciate that, man. Yo, everybody take a moment. Hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Hit the subscribe button. Hype the video up when we finish uploading, man. Let me know some of the ideas y'all may have. Let me see. King say Dre Pods, Kamingo, and Buddy in picks, but not all our picks for Giannis and Turner, hopefully. Ooh. Man, yo, see, that's the thing, King. That's a good point King just brought up. I just feel like Steph's still at an elite level. But I don't think them adding Giannis alone makes them a championship team. So you gotta find a way to add some depth to that roster after a trade like that. And if you're Giannis, it's like, shit, you just traded me here. I'm in the same situation. You know what I'm saying? That's a similar situation to Dame and Giannis. That's why that report that came out earlier that Damian Lillard may be trying to recruit Giannis to the Blazers. It's like, man, nobody ain't gonna have no sympathy for your ass, because that's gonna be like when Carmelo went back to the Knicks instead of signing with the Bulls. you ain't gonna have no sympathy for homie if that's the case. Gal say Louisiana Gal say Joe should go shopping in this market, get some free tap. That's my position. I feel like the shit's so cheap, they pretty much giving talent away at this point. You kind of just gotta, grit your teeth and, just go through the storm, in my opinion. Now, the only issue with that is everybody know this not a buyer's market necessarily, so people may be a little more reluctant to sell. You feel me? Might be a little more reluctant to sell because they're like, I know this is worth $2 first. If I trade them now, you know what I'm saying, I might get it protected first. I might as well just wait till the off season when I got more suitors, because this is what people are going to convince themselves of, and they may be right. They may be right, but it's still like, Let me see, Steph Melton, MPJ. Oh, you say then trade Jimmy and with a pick for MPJ too? Ooh, I might. Shit, dang, I don't know if they gonna have enough picks to get MPJ, especially with Giannis, because Giannis makes so much money that it gets a little bit difficult to fill out the rest of the roster. That's the thing with having those. Like, Giannis undoubtedly is a superstar, right? But he not a prime LeBron superstar to what I'm putting the team on my back 3-4 times in a row and I'm going to carry you to the finals. He's not that guy. So, in that event, it'll be tough. It'll be tough. You see, Zion ain't getting traded, value too low. Trey, on the other hand, it could be interesting. It could be interesting. King Sam said you hit a report of the Bulls offering Kobe White, Pat Will in the first and the second design. Nah, I haven't heard that, King Sam. I haven't heard that. The crazy thing is Kobe White is due for an extension, and Patrick Williams got one of the worst contracts in the NBA. I think Bam probably got the worst, but Patrick Williams got one of the worst contracts in the NBA. Like, it was no reason for the Bulls to give Patrick Williams that extension. Yeah, that'll be an awful deal for the Pelicans. You can pretty much cancel Christmas. They do some shit like that. It wouldn't make no sense at all. And the wild thing is, that's how I know some of the Jordan Poole shit, or even the Zion shit, that's how I know some of it is like semi-personal. Because it's like, bro, that's a terrible deal. Why are people advocating for trading for fucking trading for Patrick Williams? Because it's like, you can just cut Zion. You literally can just cut him. Or you can just, Jordan Poole's expiring. You can just trade him as expiring salary. Like, there's so many ways you can do this. Poet Cap said, how confident are you that Giannis will be a Miami Heat by the draft? I can't really give you an answer on that because I don't know. I do think they can put forth the absolute best offer. And I think they have more avenues to getting that pick back from New Orleans or that pick back from now, I think Atlanta has the picks as well. I don't really know what they could work out potentially with getting a future first back from Atlanta. But that top 4 protected pick, that could be a franchise altering pick. So I do think that the Pelicans could do themselves quite the favor and getting in there and making themselves a part of that deal. I think Portland has the best offer. King Sam, you talking about for Giannis? To me, I guess the Portland offer, if Dame recruiting him and Drew there, I guess the Portland offer would have to be what? Jeremy Grant and stuff? Maybe Jeremy Grant and Scoot and some stuff, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But they got a bunch of picks. So, shit, maybe. But, again, if Dame, to me, that team still ain't shit, though. What up, Combat? To me, that team still ain't nothing. Because I don't know who Dame about to be after he come back from this Achilles injury, firstly. Secondly, Drew was looking bad last time I seen him. And, I mean, who the second best player? Shaedon Sharpe? Klingon is pretty good, but, I mean, I'm just saying, in theory, I don't even know how this deal works. Like, in theory, I hope the Bucks do it, because if the Bucks do something like this and we got that pick is absolutely going to be top 4. But I'm just like, boy, this would be ugly. So let's say that, and I don't know, shit. I guess you gonna give him. I guess you give him Time Lord So they got 2 niggas with dreads and Scott, and well, I say Scott, 2 niggas with dreads and Scoot Henderson. They got 2 niggas with dreads and Scoot Henderson, and some picks, a bunch of picks, right? Oh man, I might hang up. You disrespect my mind like this. I don't know. I don't think this team going nowhere. I ain't worried about this team at all. Yeah, I don't know. Scoot and shit. Scoot out with a torn hamstring, so we don't know when he coming back. Yeah, no, dog. Ooh, boy. Yeah, I don't know. Ben said, could we snag some picks if we facilitate the Giannis trade with the swap? Absolutely. That would be. Whoa, what up, T5? Yeah. Big Chief toilet paper. Absolutely, that would be my idea. Especially in the event that if the Bucks did something stupid, like let's say they landed Tyler Hero, and truthfully, I'm not worried about them landing no motherfucking Tyler Hero and none of those weird guys, because I'm like, man, y'all ain't gonna be nothing. Go ahead and do it. Like, if they got Tyler Hero and Andrew Wiggins and Khalil Ware in exchange, man, I'm not worried about that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be worried about that at all. I'd be like, all right, I'm going to just hold on to this pick. But if they came to me and say, look, we'll take we'll take DeJounte Murray or Jordan Poole, and we'll give you, because the exchange would be Miami saying, all right, we going to give you 3 firsts for that first pick you got. We going to give you 3 firsts for that first pick, and we going to send that pick to the Bucks. You feel me? So that would be the exchange. So if you the Pelicans, you like, all right, how about this? Give me 2 firsts. Give me 2 firsts and Khalil Ware. And take back the DeJounte. We'll call it even. Like, that would kind of be, that's how I would approach it if I was looking to quote unquote, turn that 1 pick into multiple. Because again, like with, the 27 pick, yeah, it could potentially be a top pick. Could potentially be one. But shit, God forbid, knock on wood, in 28, I don't know how old Giannis is, but let's say in 28, Giannis is what, fucking 38, 37? Something like that. Bam. I'm not worried about Bam too much. But if Giannis is like 38, 37, something along those lines, then it's like, all right, man. It's all right. This pick is probably going to be pretty nice coming up, soon. And even with the Bucks. Because as great as Miami is, from a living standpoint, they haven't been able to necessarily recruit free agents. Because we know that, people like Bam. I'm sure some people like Giannis. But they just haven't been able to recruit free agents necessarily. People like DeJounte. But I think DeJounte, Bam, and Giannis, that's an interesting 3. Plus, you still got Jovic and Jaime and other guys like that. That's an interesting little 3-man team. You also got avenues to go ahead and improve that. Now, this is crazy, bro. I put together some highlights of, I'm just going to play a few of these, because I know some people was asking me about the game today. But I put together a few highlights, right, of how the Pelicans players have been looking off of Zion, even when Zion has, demanded the ball. It's 3 video clips. Y'all bear with me. Y'all check these out. All right, so Zion gets isolated onto LaMelo. D's him up, pause, causes the miss. Herb gets the rebound. Zion is, look what Zion at. Zion under the rim, calling for the ball. Herb, pull-up jumper. This awful, right? Zion gets the offensive board. Can't get the putback to fall. Here's another one.
I like when Trey advances it.
Man, Zion has him on his back.
Yep.
and I'm not going
to... Yo, somebody got to get cut after some shit like that. Now, look at this again. Hold up. Look at this.
I like when Trey advances it.
Man, Zion has him on his back.
Yep.
Bruh. Zion got the dude posted so long, he draws a fucking offensive 3. Here's another play right here. Now, this happened today. Yeah, he shot it. He shot Louisiana. Yeah, he shot it with confidence, too. This what happened today. Now, this, man, it's inexplicable. Zion under the rim. He got Miles Bridges guarding him. Derek Queen looks at Zion, looks at him dead in the face, say, nah, Jose right there. Give me the ball. We got to give it to our go-to player, Sadiq Bey. Like, is you sick? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I don't know, bro. This team need an exorcism in the worst way, bro. It is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Boy, I could have been born anywhere else. But it's embarrassing. Seriously. That was just totally ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Like, I don't know what to do with these dudes, man. It's sad. I don't know, bro. It is sad. But, yo, man, I appreciate everybody tapping in. I just wanted to join in and holler at y'all, man. Yeah, Sadiq Bey out 1A. That's what we call a 1A Bay. This team for the loci. Oh, absolutely. But, you know, like I say, man, it's tough to have IQ when you've been dealing with this same incompetent staff for so many years. At this point, look, I put it on Twitter the other day. If you expected Borrego to get criticized anywhere else but here, you know what I'm saying? You cancel Christmas. You cancel Christmas, man. This guy's getting away with, you know, with just this. Oh my God, he just operating with impunity. Crazy. Say he said the Houston game when they had been fucked up. Say if the trade is that, Chaz, I will be sprinting to the front office for the trade in no time. Zach LaVine, Khalil Ware on the same team would be so fire if it heard you out here, man. You know, I just feel like the Pelicans gotta find a way to address the lead guard, the center, and shooting. One of those have to be cheap. You know what I'm saying? You can afford to splurge a little bit on a distressed asset like Ja Morant because there's only 2 years left. If it don't work out, then it just don't work out. It's 2 years. You tearing it down anyway. It's a bonus. Only about 2. It's like, what, 2 years left after this year. If it don't work out, don't work out. You know what I'm saying? Shooting, in theory, is cheap to find. You can find shooting in the first round. in the second round. That's why I didn't like the idea of them drafting Jordan Hawkins so early, because I'm like, well, damn, what if the shot don't fall? What can he do? And as you see, the shot ain't fall, and he's had, 3-4 DNPs in a row now along with Jordan Poole. It's really an unfortunate situation, but the Pelicans aren't far away from being good, man. But, again, if the Pelicans can become a part of a 3-team deal with Pelicans can become a part of a 3-team deal with the Miami Heat, you know what I'm saying, move off of some bad salary, get a few picks back, man, that would be awesome. That would be ideal. And you would have to ask yourself, look, if you the Bucks, how much you want this pick? Or if you the Miami Heat, how much you want this first round pick you got? Because if I got the first round pick, I'm gonna need Khalil Ware and about 2-3 other picks. You know what I'm saying? Or you could just try to win in 2027. It's on y'all. You can just try to win next season without Giannis. Go ahead with your bad ass. But I need Khalil Ware. And unless you ready to talk turkey, get off my phone. Don't bang my motherfucking line. You understand me? But yo, that's been today's show, man. I appreciate everybody tapping in. I'll see y'all for the next game, of course. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be consistent with it. And this is the In Your League show, so this is more of a National Basketball Association show. This isn't like Pelicans prime, but of course we always gonna talk about some Pelicans. But yo, good night to all y'all, man. Be safe. I will catch y'all on the next one. If y'all know if anything happens, we gonna be doing our thing, breaking news. I don't care what time is it. What time it is, I'm gonna join in. We're gonna be doing breaking news, man. So much love to y'all. Be safe.